Yeah, you just say what's on our geeky suite.
The
Did you give
stupid
him
thing.
any sort of clue as to what we do here?
Oh well,
What?
wait, shit. Where's the? Oh, damn it! Hold on,
It's
I gotta find the email real quick that we got.
how was I looking at freaking teasful? Hey, I know what number it is.
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys haven't noticed that. I always put that in there. Every time.
Is that a drum roll, or do you have like a truly satisfying keyboard there, sir?
That's his keyboard.
Yeah, I'm gonna type and look where I put. We have an email. I'm trying to figure out where the hell I put it.
Yeah, everything's all on the one desk, so you'll even see his monitor vibrate a little bit, and you can hear the.
Oh, damn it!
Oh, mine's the same way.
Okay. When I tapped the monitor in the second, not the laptop, and the second monitor went out for a second. Okay. Sure. Okay. I suppose, yeah, if you want to hit a button.
Oh, I already did.
Oh, did you? Oh,
Yeah.
We've been live, my friend.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're live.
Oh, damn. I guess
Hi.
But are we live?
Well, I don't know what to. Wayne!
Let me go tell the whole Jackbox people that we're here, because, you know, nothing like faking your numbers. Yeah.
Jerry Chandler.
No, you have to talk. This is still the Patreon stuff.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Hey, Patreon people. This is the Cinemistress, and I'm going to actually do something for you this month, I think.
Oh, really?
She's starting her OnlyFeeds.
All right.
Only cats. It's just pictures of my
cats. Jesus God.
Only cats. It's pictures of her. All right. What is going on now?
That would make money. Only cats. It'd be like every social media site. Just nothing but pictures of cats.
So a friend of mine on the scene, y'all all know him too. Darren Kennedy comes running up to me. I can't remember how long ago, but it was like right when OnlyFans started up. He's like, "Hey, Jason, I have an OnlyFans," and my mind just starts spinning because, like, I love Darren. He's a great guy, but the last thing I need in my life is DK porn.
Donkey Kong porn?
He's like, no.
Dairy Queen porn?
No. He's like, no, you gotta see this. You gotta see this. And he pulls up his OnlyFans page on his phone. He has an OnlyFans, and because it's Darren Kennedy, and he's I don't care what Mark says, Darren's the king of dad jokes. It is a site on OnlyFans that is nothing but pictures of fans.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And he has subscribers.
Sure.
Of course.
That makes sense.
Go figure that out.
Oh, hey.
Only Vans. It's just.
Jerry's in the chat. Hi, Jerry. I agree with you. You want to kick this off then?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh my God! Really? Someone else we love? It's GRD Sweekly. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Geek Radio Daily, GRD Sweekly, I should say. Episode number. Come on, Carol.
329.
Hey! Did you finally notice the thing that Rich does?
I did notice. I finally noticed with the title on the Twitch channel.
Boys and girls and all the ships to the fine folks from GeekRadioDaily.com are here bringing it to you. The folks with you today is the woman who likes to sum things up for her friends. That there is Carol the Cat.
You know, it's like she read my mind right after you suffered a severe blow to the head.
The guy who really sees reality, I suppose you could say. It's podcasting Drit Siegfried.
Oh, looks like an episode of Intervention in here. Or, yes,
And our special guest, the man who wants you to be just like him, I guess we'll call you Jason the Failflix tonight? Yeah, it's Jason.
Relax. Buggy. Have yourself a good time.
Indeed.
OMG. Do you have a sound clip from Can't Stop the Music?
I sure do. I'm the guy who loves his own tune of the wonderful Billy Flynn. How can you not have something for Can't Stop the Music? Come on. That's the only film I'm aware of that was directed by Nancy Walker, the Bounty Paper Towel.
Oh, I wonder why the name sounded familiar.
Hey, we're going to do a musical with the Village People. By God, I know just the person. What happened geeky there, yo?
Go first. since the Flintstones normally goes first, and she's
Yeah, they're in Florida.
yeah, they're having fun at Disneyland.
They're watching the
Screw
fireworks.
this! I'm going to Disneyland. Did I talk about Saturday Night? The movie Saturday Night? I don't. I'll do it anyway. I watched Saturday Night with
we did
the
too.
movie about the first episode of Saturday Night Live.
The 90 minutes before the first
90 minutes before.
Saturday Night Live.
It's actually really good. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it, but I always love those old Saturday Night Live episodes, and it's very funny. So I really liked it. And then I watched Mads, which is oh, okay, yeah, this is a Spanish horror film about a drug that kind of turns you into a zombie. The gimmick of this movie is that it is 90 minutes long and it is one long take, and they do not make any sort of cheats or anything. It is literally one long take, but it's not as impressive as you think it is because there's very little dialogue. It's pretty easy to film people for 90 minutes twitching and growling.
Okay.
Speaking of twitching and growling, I watched Night Bitch with Amy Adams.
You know, I've been seeing that
Did you
on
say
Twitter.
Night Witch?
New mother.
Night
Bitch.
Night
Bitch.
Bitch.
Dig this. Wait till you hear this plot synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
I need this.
She is a new mother who gave up her artistic career to become a stay-at-home mom, and she's finding herself very stifled in that. And she truly believes she's turning into a dog at night.
She does.
And she's okay with it.
And I have a great big old crush on Amy Adams, so there we go.
And he likes dogs. Win-win.
Win-win.
I liked it. I thought the ending was a bit. I don't want to spoil it, so I won't say anything. The ending kind of fell a little false to me, but
She didn't catch the car?
No, she didn't. She didn't. I'm sorry.
I've always wondered what would the dog do once they caught the car?
What you
So
don't
therefore,
do?
what would she do?
We're going to be finding out over the next 4 years. But
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And then I watched Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, The Return of Feathers McGraw. I absolutely adored it. It's wonderful. If you like Wallace and Gromit, you'll like this one. It is a little bit sad because Peter Sallis, who voiced Wallace, has passed away, and they have somebody new doing it. But he does a very good job.
Hello there, Gromit.
I know, that's a tough voice to do.
That's
Cracking
Gromit,
cheese.
of course, is voiced by the same eyebrows. Then I cried my way through remembering Gene Wilder because, of course, I did. And then I was looking for something to watch on Sunday or something like that, and I did a letterboxed thing on TikTok and ended up on Before Sunrise, which I had never seen before, oddly enough, and I really enjoyed it. You think I found... I don't normally do romance movies. They're just not my thing. Unless, you're in Elizabethan garb or whatever, If it's Pride and Prejudice, I'm fine, but modern romances I don't do. I think I found my niche, though. Because I really love this movie, and I really love Rye Lane, and they're both first dates where they just walk around a city. So I think I found the niche romances that I like. Then I started watching Squid Game season 2.
Wait, isn't that basically Lord of the Rings?
Yes. That was the worst first date for Sam and Frodo.
Hey, it worked out at the end.
Hey, they had potatoes.
I mean, taters. Gotta have taters.
But
So if you ever want to go on Carol's perfect date, walk around a city with potatoes.
That's right.
If
And
you're
talk
from
about
Idaho,
Lord of the Rings. Then I started watching season 2 of Squid Games. It's fine. I don't know why this show needed a season 2 other than it's immensely popular and it's making Netflix money.
Made money. That's why. It exists.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunger Games got a sequel, right?
It got several. It's getting
Hungrier Games.
Well, now they're getting prequels. We're not quite as
Ravished
hungry.
Games.
My tummy grumbling games.
So I'm not enjoying it as much as season 1, but it's fine. I'll finish it. And I can't think of anything else other than losing my heroes this week in different ways.
Okay.
Rest in peace, David Lynch.
Yeah, one of them's
I
dead
miss you
and the other
so
one's dead to
much.
us.
Yes. I already miss you so much, even though I knew you weren't going to make any more films. Isn't that weird? I knew he wasn't going to ever make any more films, but I miss the films I'll never get from him.
But there was always that random moment where he just made some stupid small little video that's better than
Yeah.
it comes out of Hollywood.
And, yeah.
Like the
So-
monkey
monkey,
interrogation thing on Netflix. Like what? I love it.
Look,
I don't
love
understand it.
David
I've
Lynch
watched it 3
films.
times. Don't understand what the hell was going on, but I
Yeah.
loved it.
Don't try to understand it. That's the joy of David Lynch films. Don't
True.
try to understand them. Just enjoy the weirdness.
Someone said to me once, and they was like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "Well, what does it mean to you?"
Yeah. I mean, every time I watch Eraserhead, I think it means something different.
Well, I need to remember the message of rubber. No reason.
No reason. But he has joined the Log Lady and Jack Nance, and I hope they're making oddball films in whatever cosmos there is out there.
Oh God, I would love to see the afterlife.
That's been my geeky week. It's been kind of a
Roller coaster.
Fire
Yeah.
enough.
For me, it's been watching Lower Decks. Kind of pacing them out.
Oh, I was gonna say, did you finally get to the end? Okay.
Pacing them out, just so I'm not blowing through them all. Same with What We Do in the Shadows. Although did watch the final 2 episodes of both Creature Commandos, which
Yes.
was fantastic.
Loved Creature Commandos.
So good. And Skeleton Crew, which watch
I'm
that.
behind on that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I told you we were gonna try to get my kid involved.
Yeah.
Every time she's
So-
almost been interested, we've never done it, so we're just gonna leave her behind. When they get back, we're just gonna leave her behind.
it's
You're on your
it's
own.
so utterly satisfying. It is my favorite thing that Star Wars kind of has ever done. It and Andor are pretty much on the same level, just just different sides of the spectrum of when it comes to the tone, obviously. But holy cow, it to me is one of them is the tone of Star Wars and the other one is the potential of the universe of Star Wars, and I just so good. Just all the characters, everything, friggin' loved it. And Neil is baby. If anything happens if there's ever a sequel series or anything like that, if anything ever happens to our little elephant-nosed buddy, our betrunked buddy, we will riot. For sure. And Creature Commandos was just, holy cow. That thing hit on so many levels, just comedy and in the feels and just wow. I am just blown away by that series, and I am looking forward to anything and everything that happens in Gunn's DCU, because he's just so damn good.
The simple fact that he says this is part of it, I can't wait to see any kind of connections in other works, because wow.
Well, there's going to be a Clayface movie, right?
There's gonna be a Clayface movie.
Which, I mean, as much as I would love to get a Clayface movie of the one from Harley Quinn, like I'm going on auditions, I would love that, but I also want to see this psychotic, crazed, terrifying Clayface, also voiced by Alan Tudyk. So, I mean, I could watch / listen to that man do anything, but I think that, I'm hoping that they're bringing some of the characters from Creature Commandos into the live action universe. That would be amazing. Don't know how, but it'd be cool. But just so damn good. We're getting some really good geeky stuff on our TVs from our major franchises, and of course the trailer for the new Daredevil. And Marvel's getting stuff back in line, which is nice. I've for the most part enjoyed the latest MCU stuff, but it does not have the same impact and power that the phase 1 stuff did, even though there were some clunkers in there. But oh my goodness, we're just in a real good place, I think, right now, when it comes to Geek on TV, and hopefully coming up in cinemas as well. And that's pretty much been my geeky week.
Well, damn. What you been doing, Jason?
So I'm a big Silent Hill nut. I remember when the first game came out, I picked it up because I was a Resident Evil nut, and it looked kind of cool. Went home, put it in the PlayStation, fell in love with it. So I've been playing the Silent Hill 2 remake that came out, and these days when they make games, I mean, you're playing interactive movies. I just recently played through Hellblade, for example, and the girl who mocapped the main character, Senua, actually got an award for her performance. But if you're a big Silent Hill fan and the game is amazing, I'm going to have a hard time making myself pick up the original again. I also been back on Skyrim pretty heavy. I'm one of those guys that I have done. The only thing left for me to do in the vanilla game is the fishing stuff. That's it. I literally am the leader of the companions, leader of the Field Thieves Guild, leader. I'm the Archmage of Winterhold. I'm a Thane in every hold. I'm the leader of the Dark Brotherhood. I mean, it's just I've got 430 hours into that game on the PC alone.
But are you the leader of the pack?
I don't remember there being fishing in Skyrim.
I'm building the library so that I can take a day and start going through them. But I have been reading some. Yeah,
they're posted online. You can just
Yeah, I know.
you can read them online.
But yeah, really. But I've been doing mods on it to get more quests, and one guy actually did a mod of the Resident Evil mansion from the first game and did a quest line that is, if Resident Evil took place in Skyrim, this is what it would look like. That was pretty awesome. Watched Samurai Cop for the stream this weekend. I forgot. I remember how goofy that movie is. It is a masterclass of lazy filmmaking and inept filmmaking, and it is in thirds. A third of it's ridiculous, a third of it's misogynist, and a third of it's racist as all hell.
Nice.
And then I got introduced to a movie this week called Strange Magic.
Oh.
And it's deceptive because I can see it's one of those like it would be perfect for the stream because it tanked, but it's not. I can't say it's bad. Most of their budget went to the music licensing. It literally just is a medley of like all the musical
shown pretty of good movies on terrible movies.
It's like all of the most popular songs at that time that movie came out. It's an animated flick. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I actually really enjoyed it. So yeah, and then working on book 3. I just started chapter 25 and I'm getting to the end content of it. So that's been exciting. And I'm reading Jim Butcher's Dresden Files right now. I'm on book 15, I think. So yeah, that's been my week.
Cool. So because you said you enjoyed it, the Flintstones and I, we did watch Saturday night, and yes, the chaos that is there, the people in this movie, like we played that game for a while, the guy who's playing Chevy Chase going, wait, where do we know him from? And when it finally locked in my brain, I was like, oh my God. It's the Riddler from Gotham. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. Something you will appreciate, Mr. Rich, is that, I don't know if you know this, but Milton Berle is a character in this film, as played by J.K. Simmons.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yes, he makes a joke about it.
Yes, he does.
Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I already wanted to watch it anyway.
An interesting performance is by Nicholas Braun, because he gets to play Andy Kaufman as well as playing Jim Henson.
Yes. Because the Muppets were on the first Saturday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday Night Live had the Muppets, yeah. And there's nothing like him asking for pages as the clock continues to click down towards 0. Oh, but what about well, we haven't actually gotten pages yet, is how that works. So no, both of his just great, and his recreation of the Mighty Mouse moment is. People who loved Saturday Night Live helped make this thing happen. It's great.
I think that recreation actually rivals Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey.
It really it's so spot on. I think he had the bit of nervous energy actually a little better. The quick darting of the eyes thing. It was just like it was fantastic. It was just amazing. So before Kev left, since we have a long history of watching bad movies, and since we had watched Crackoon, we had said we have to watch.
I forgot about Crackoon.
Crackoon, yeah,
That's not a real movie.
It is.
Oh my god! I need to look this up.
Crackoon on crack disembowels people. Kid you not. And the thing is, everyone that smokes this crack, everyone has this crack, their eyes turn orange. So
Oh my god!
as we keep watching, people's eyes keep turning orange. We're like, oh my god, it's the same crack. So Kevin and I decided, so now we have to actually watch Meth Gator.
I've heard of Meth Gator. I need Crackoon in my life.
Crackoon you'll have more fun with, because Meth Gator is a production by The Asylum.
Oh God!
Holy, well, yeah, but but holy balls, it's on Prime.
The only real Tubi's got a good chunk of the things I'm about to talk about.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Meth Gator's really only problem is someone decided that they were going to try to make a serious movie. There's characters treating everything very, very seriously.
Like not like Red One, where that's part of the joke.
No.
Oh, that's really unfortunate.
No, not at all. And you learn some amazing things in Meth Gator. Did you know, and this is a true fact, that alligators shed their skin?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
What I did not know was they could shed all of their skin at once and make it look like a dead alligator laying on the ground. That convinced people.
You know what else they do?
For the next 15 minutes.
Do you know what else they're starting to do?
Ooh.
They're starting to roll over and wave their little hands, trying to look like people drowning. So people will swim out to help them, and then they eat them.
That's nice.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. I'm not joking. I'm not actually joking. Yes.
So continue.
Okay, cool. Gators are evolving. That's great. That's what I needed.
That's all we needed in this life. So to continue on, that train of we watched Cocaine Shark.
Come on now. They already used cocaine.
A lot of things happen in Cocaine Shark, but would you like to take a wild guess as to what one thing is that is not in Cocaine Shark?
Cocaine.
A tornado?
Cocaine.
Oh, what?
There was no cocaine in Cocaine Shark.
Well, then how are you gonna make a movie called Cocaine Shark if you ain't got no cocaine?
There is a scene where two people are putting a white powder into a bag. However, they had talked about meth before, so cocaine is never actually mentioned in Cocaine Shark. The drug of question in this is something that's been derived from the brains of sharks and has been cut to make this weird drug that makes you hallucinate as if you are a shark. And apparently, this drug mutated a shark. The thing from the shark's body mutated the shark. And other things, because unbeknownst to us, there's also a man shark. And a weird bat gorilla thing, which is strange. It's a terrible movie. It is an absolutely terrible movie. And
I thought if you took stuff out of their brain, it would cure Alzheimer's. Isn't that what Deep Blue Sea told us?
That was Deep Blue Sea. That was Deep Blue Sea.
That wasn't a documentary. Samuel L. Jackson's still alive.
It makes you ask a ton of questions about the film, because the scene at the beginning of the movie, then we flash back, makes you wonder how the scene at the beginning of the movie could actually have happened, because the cocaine shark is caught and someone is fed to the cocaine shark. And well, how did that ever happen? I don't know. But that's a bunch of questions, because that film was directed by Mr. Mark Polonia. It's a Polonia
How do I know that name?
Oh, because
Peters.
Mark
Peters.
Mark Polonia, as it turns out, if you're ever flipping through Tubi or anything that has very, very, very bad movies on it, and you find a movie that's an hour and 10 minutes long, chances are Mark Polonia directed it. Mark Polonia also directed Camp Blood, Clown Shark.
Oh, God.
There is a summer camp, I'm guessing, because there is a sign that says Camp Blood on it. It's never mentioned, really. But there's a guy dressed as a clown killing people who gets killed at the beginning of our movie. His body is thrown into the water. And 6 months later, for whatever reason, a tuna swims too close to the severed head in the clown mask. And there's this swirling effect, and I shit you not, the head of the clown ends up on the end of the tuna fish.
So it just did a horror at Party Beach type thing.
Hold on.
That's amazing.
But wait, there's more.
Amazing.
Apparently, the clown tuna fish decided, you know what, that's not scary enough. I'm just going to into a shark that's in a lake. So it's
How do you do it?
in a lake with a clown face occasionally.
But how do you do it?
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing matters. Nothing really matters.
Was it the woogada woogada woogada? That's how it went down.
I'm thinking more than likely. But like we were looking to see what was, like other things by him, and I found out that, and Rich, you will remember this because back on the Daily Show when we would talk about new DVDs, and I'd always have the shitty movie at the end. Mark Polonia is the man that brought us Amityville in space. And I'm not gonna say he's Ed Wood, but he does have a little stable of actors that do like to show up in all of his various films.
But does he wear Angora sweaters?
Unfortunately, that's not a thing. I wish. So, I found a show on Netflix that's called A Man on the Inside. Anyone ever heard of this?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a Ted Danson thing.
It is a Ted Danson thing. Michael Schur from The Office and The Good Place made this. Ted Danson is a college professor who is retired because we're that old, whose wife has been dead for about a year, and his estranged daughter has told him that he needs friends, he needs to get out, he needs to find something to do. So he answers an ad in the paper from a private investigator who has a client that believes his mom's jewelry was stolen in the nursing home she's in, and she can't go in there and investigate, so she needs a man on the inside.
Aha.
And it is a fun little story about Ted Danson's character and how going and actually interacting with people and connecting again makes him a little more alive and has a better relationship. And he even gets to solve the case. Very nice of him. It ends on a cliffhanger saying that there is going to be a second season. I don't know why there would be a second season, unless, of course, it made a bunch of money. That's what we learned earlier. Maybe that's the thing. I don't know. But if they do another season, I'll watch it because I had a fun time with that. I had a fun time watching befuddled, sort of trying to figure out how to be a normal person Ted Danson. It was an interesting run. His daughter is played by the waitress from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So there you go. There you go. So since, hey, Netflix, you have one fun thing from me. What's another fun thing from me? And I found Chaos. That's
yeah. Jeff Goldblum is Zeus. Jeff Goldblum as Zeus. Speak, Carol.
He's Zeus. Because people still believe in the gods, so much so that literal people's names are now Orpheus and Eurydice. That's just normal names now. Believe in the gods, pray to the gods, hunt down and will threaten to kill people for, befiling the gods. And the Greek gods were a family, and all families have problems, and problems happen in this family. And Jeff Goldblum, as trying desperately to hold on to his godhood while shit starts to slip away, is pretty fun. It's a pretty fun time. The final episode could be the final episode. Technically it is now because Netflix decided not to renew it, so it could serve as a finale. But it was about to step up and actually get into a war between man and God, which would have been very, very interesting to watch. But now, sadly, that is something that we will never, ever, ever see. And I definitely read some comics, but apparently I didn't write them down, so I guess I'm kind of a jerk, and I'm sorry about that.
The wonderful Billy Flynn looks at what Chad and Abby are up to now. If you know what TV show they're on this week, you could win yourself a prize. It's your further adventures of Chad and Abby update. Abby is set to command a Mars mission, but a fire breaks out on the ship. and she's being held responsible. Abby's husband, Chad, who works in mission control, has a stroke and goes through surgery, and Abby considers requesting to be removed from the mission, but is encouraged to stay. The ship sets sail, and the mission encounters its first problem when solar panels just fail to deploy. Abby and Kate do a spacewalk to fix the whole thing, and Kate, who doubted Abby's ability to lead, says, you know what? That's a good job. Nicely done. Abby and Chad's kid is a little stressed about the mission and Dad's condition. Abby is just trying to be the good mother. From space, Chad thinks his daughter needs to trust mother's instincts. You know, things will be so much better once Abby is no longer absent. Elsewhere. Not here. Hashtag Chabby forever.
Looks like you've got mail waiting.
Is it fentanyl ferret?
Oh my God. How did you... Damn, you don't normally get those in the first try. Hey, geeks. I may be in the minority on this, but I absolutely loved Angel from Hell. And I think that show should have gotten a better run. That's a damn fine cast. That is a damn funny time. And yes, it makes me wish that I had a crazy cool gym teacher / guardian angel trying to guide my life in the way it should be done. That is from Meredith. Meredith, congratulations, Jess. Chad and Abby absolutely last week were on Angel from Hell, a show I'd forgotten existed and was pleasantly reminded about when I found it. So you are now in the running for a prize. If you have any idea where Chad and Abby might be this week, by all means, drop us a note. It is going to be podcast@geekradiodaily.com, and I'm going to put Carol on the spot because I could also tell you that you get all the magic numbers of
GRD crew. I don't remember.
Excuse me.
Rich.
510 GRD crew.
There it is. There it is.
I almost said 303, but that
Now
was
I need
my
some
when
alone
I was
time
a
with
child.
Rich.
I just wanted to see your face when I told you I was going to do that because like you're not. That's going to mess you up so bad.
Yeah, that voice Rich did, like, Rich, next time at Con, we need some time, brother.
So
501 GRD crew.
maybe I should have put this into my Geeky Week, but something that we did as a podcast is on the last Jackbox stream night, I got contacted by this guy. There's this game that's coming out that's not out yet. It's called Jokes on Us. It is a Jackbox style type of game where you do silly little games, who contacted me and wondered if we would like to debut a work in progress version of the game on the stream. And we did. When the game is ready, it'll take 10 players. It was only ready for 5 that night. So, you know, some of us watched, some of us sat in the audience because the audience part is not ready yet in the game. But we played and had a damn fine time with that little game. It was quite fun. Allegedly, he's going to be talking to Mark about doing one on Mark's Wednesday night gaming. So we'll see if that happens. But yeah, when that comes out, we're going to be about that. That was a fun time. And I'm like, wow, nothing makes you feel like you're really kind of a minor internet celebrity, like someone going, hey, you want to test out an unreleased game? No music, no sound effects. Just five mini games and a 6 round to wrap it all up. They're going to have a way if you can shorten that if you want. But yeah, that was fun. That was a damn fine time. So yeah. And we're going to play Jackbox again tomorrow night. It'll be start a little later than normal because I got work to do, but we're still going to make it happen. So you should come join us because things will be fun, things will be wonderful, things will be warm, and I think that you should absolutely be there.
I might not be there. I curse too much.
We let things pile up in the DVR. We add them to our queues. We wait for the DVDs and Blu-rays. We time shift. The Time Shifters podcast. Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, superheroes, comedy, action, film, television, maybe some not-so-current events. Find us on iTunes or at timeshifterspodcast.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Combs, and you're listening to Geek Radio Daily.
Indeed you are, which means you're doing something right with your life. So congratulations to you and all you've done thus far.
I'm not wearing any pants. Film at 11.
Neither am I.
Geek News.
Taking a look at the world from a geeky point of view.
Well, folks, we're doing something a little different this week because, there's a big story that we need to talk about. Celebrated author Neil Gaiman, known for works like The Sandman and American Gods, is facing multiple allegations of sexual misconduct, coercion, and abuse spanning several decades. A recent expose by New York Magazine details accounts from 8 women who accuse Gaiman of using his fame to pressure them into non-consensual and violent sexual acts. Gaiman, of course, has denied these allegations in non-apology apologies, asserting that all encounters were consensual. One of the accusers, Scarlett Pavlovich, a 22-year-old drama student, alleges that while working as a nanny for Gaiman's son in New Zealand in February 2022, she was subjected to repeated sexual assaults. Pavlovich claims that Gaiman coerced her into non-consensual sexual activities while ignoring her protests. She describes feeling a subtle terror during these encounters. These revelations have sent shockwaves, obviously, through Gaiman's fan base, who previously viewed him as a champion of women's rights and a feminist hero. The allegations have prompted discussions about the complexities of consent, especially when significant power imbalances are involved. Gaiman's former wife, musician Amanda Palmer, known for advocacy on issues of sexual assault, has not publicly commented on the allegations. Now, guys, this is going to be a tough conversation that we need to talk about because Neil Gaiman is such a huge part of many of our lives. Some of you out there may have tattoos of his work on your flesh. You definitely have his books on your shelves. Many of us have his works in our watch lists that we've gone back and watched, the ones that we've enjoyed that were well put together. And it's a tough thing because this is somebody who, certainly with the being seen as a feminist hero, we're starting to see that, unfortunately, many of these people, Joss Whedon, a lot of folks will also use some of these organizations and whatnot as cover, so that way they will, be able to hide some of their monstrous sides. Now, again, these are all allegations, but the evidence that has been shown is really damning, and it also kind of speaks a little bit to some of the patterns that you can see in his work that you may have written off before as like, oh, he's showing a bad example of how to act, when he may actually be showcasing and telling on himself.
Yeah, that Calliope storyline kind of hits differently now.
God.
Way differently now.
God almighty.
We all thought he was deaf. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this because I caught wind of this story in September when I heard tell that a British podcast was doing a limited run series on this. And I read partial transcripts of the podcast. I didn't want to listen to the podcast. I had erroneously been told that they were very firmly of the opinion that nobody can enter a BDSM relationship voluntarily, that it's all abuse. And I didn't really want to give them the listen. But I read transcripts and I was willing to step back a little bit because it sounded like it could be something or it could be nothing. So I was just going to keep an eye on it. I did myself a favor yesterday and I listened to all 5 hours of the Tortoises podcast on this. It's a 6-part series called Master that came out in September. In it, they interview Scarlett, so you actually hear her speak of it. They interview 4 other women, and they play they play recordings of messages he sends, WhatsApps he sends. They read text messages. They get very, very detailed. I have removed all Neil Gaiman from my shelves. I don't know who I lent his fiction to, but whoever I did, you can keep him. I don't want him back. I took his nonfiction off my shelf. I took Amanda Palmer's book off my shelf. I've removed her DVDs from my Spotify, or her music from my Spotify. I had mugs from A Night with Neil and Amanda. And those are going in my craft room to use for something else. And I won't be reading any more of his work, and I won't be, of course, supporting any more of his work. And before you come at me and say, well, innocent until proven guilty, the thing is, I'm kind of with John Scalzi in this. The best case scenario, if Scarlett is lying and what Neil is saying is true, the best case scenario here is that 61-year-old Neil Gaiman thought it was perfectly acceptable to get naked and hop into the bathtub with his son's 23-year-old babysitter, a woman that he had just met hours earlier, a woman that's significantly younger than his eldest child, a woman who he knew to be emotionally attached to his ex-wife and dependent on this couple for finance, housing, and food. And he thought it was okay. And then he entered into a 3-week-long, very violent relationship with her and then just left. And this is not the first time. And he readily admits to all of that. So, by his own admission, he is a predator. And frankly, having listened to that podcast, I believe her. You can hear it in her voice. And she is very aware that it looks bad. All of these women are very aware that it looks bad because she did send him loving text messages and she answered the phone and she accepted money and she asked for money. And she realizes that that just looks bad. But she had absolutely nowhere to go. When she met Amanda Palmer, she was sleeping in a sleeping bag on the beach. So, and he knew that. He knew it.
Yep.
I just can't, even if it was all consensual, it wasn't. Because the power dynamic was so skewed that it couldn't be. And trust me, this hurts. This really hurts. If you had asked me in August to list my most influential books, 3 of his books would have been in my top 10. And now I don't want to look at his name anymore. I said at the top, I lost 2 idols this week. David Lynch died. This one's just dead to me now. So that's my take on this, and we can go into separating the art from the artist. The entertainment media is something completely different, and we can talk about that. But I am actually reconsidering watching Sandman and Anasazi Boys and whatever we get for Good Omens. And that show is near and dear to me, and I don't even know if I want to finish it.
And
that's my take.
Now, it may take time.
Yeah. It may take time, and one of the most important things that we have to remember, because whether we like it or not, all of our heroes are older than us, so their death or potential bad news, they have a head start on us. So some things are inevitable. Hopefully it's more of the Lynch route where we get to mourn their loss versus mourn that we ever appreciated them. But it's really important to not, when it comes to our memories and experiences with content they've created, unless there's a reason to toss out our memories of the content, there's no reason to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think don't feel bad about having ever enjoyed somebody's content before you found out that they were a piece of trash, because so many people will create that kind of link. It'll be things that are integral to them, and it's important that those things still matter. Those things that you learned or the way you felt from somebody's content is still very important to you. And then you can make the choice to separate yourself from their content, absolutely. Yeah. But never feel bad. And this is for anybody out there, because I've seen it happen with, when things come out. A good example is the comedy world with Bill Cosby. I mean, that was somebody who influenced so many comedians, and many of them felt bad that they'd ever kind of had this distant mentor in a way by studying the works and stuff like that. But it's really important not to feel bad about your experience with that content. Of course, now you can make a dividing line of how you will go forward with that, but make sure not to internalize and feel bad about what you may have gained from those materials, because anybody can be human trash. And we always hope that, and I think we can all agree that if it ever happens, if anything comes out about Weird Al, I mean, we just set this whole damn planet on fire.
Yeah.
It's just no faith.
Weird Al. If anything comes out about Rhett and Link, I'm doomed.
I've got kind of two ideas on it. They're not differing or opposing. The first one is I kind of look at it the same way as you look at death. You've got really great memories. Like, I mean, I started watching. My Neil Gaiman introduction was the Sandman Preludes and Nocturnes comic. Love that comic. Like, oh my god. Then got introduced to Coraline. Fell in love with Coraline. Great film. Have not read the book, unfortunately, but before all this came out, I was starting to look at, okay, maybe I should start giving this stuff a read, you know, American Gods, Coraline, so on and so forth. And then all of this comes out, and it's kind of like, for me, it's the same way as like with the Harry Potter stuff with J.K. Rowling. I'm huge Harry Potter fan, loved it. I mean, I read the whole series multiple times. I've got all the films, watched them multiple times. And then she said some sideways stuff. Okay, I mean, whatever. You know, people say stupid crap. Move on. But then she kept doubling down and tripling down. And the next thing you know, she's like got this crusade against transgender people. And I've got a real problem with that. And now suddenly I cannot look at anything to do with the Harry Potter universe and her behavior not come to mind. And for me, it's kind of the same way, even though, yeah, I mean, admittedly, it's still really fresh. If I see a picture of Coraline, if I see something about Sandman, Good Omens, so on and so forth, the first thing that comes to mind is what he did. So I feel like there's kind of a grieving process there because you've been such a huge fan of all of this stuff. You have all these great memories, but you feel like you can't do that anymore because it comes with pain now. So you have to let that go for your own mental health. And in and of itself, that sucks. Mm. And so I really do feel like with this, people are kind of going through the 5 stages of grief. The other side of it is the amount of disappointment we feel, and in the back of our minds, a level of denial until we read the details. So, you know, we had all heard about this stuff back in September. I was like, Carol, like, okay, you know, in the author community, we've had a couple of authors where some things have come up and it turned out to be, you know, not great, but not this. So
not what they were saying. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So let me step back and see what happens. And then I read this article from the Vulture. I don't have SA trauma in my background, and this disturbed me. I work in construction. I have seen guys get really messed up on a job site. This bothered me reading it. It took me a minute to get through it. So it caught me off guard, and now it's like, I don't want to read this book, so I don't want to watch Coraline. So I'm right there with Carol. I enjoyed Sandman. I have those great memories. And Rich, I think you're right. I don't feel bad about having those good memories. It's more of, I feel a sadness that is something not unlike, okay, you know, my dog passed away and now I have to let him go and move on.
It's a little bit the same way that I felt once I found out that Kanye actually used to do music. I mean, I was totally fine with his politics and everything like that, but when I found out that he was a musician.
Same thing, Sandman. I'm in high school.
Yeah.
That's how old I am. I'm in high school. Mm-hmm. Sandman. And it's this amazing comic. It's this incredible story.
You and I probably had the same issue.
Fascinating. I mean, the third trade paperback I bought, the first three at my local comic book shop in Wilmington, was very, very smart. Neil Gaiman randomly came into the comic book shop one weekend.
What?
So, yeah, they got him to sign some stuff.
That's awesome.
I've got the first three graphic novels in a slipcase, and the third one is signed Sweet Dreams, Neil Gaiman. Oh my God! That's the coolest thing in the world. I read Good Omens because it was Neil Gaiman, and because of that, found Terry Pratchett. I know Discworld because of Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman opened a bunch of doors, literarily and even movie-wise and stuff, for me that I don't know I would have found another way. So this literally is like, it's the biggest kick in the fucking balls. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the F word for the show. For the balls, man, because we've had a number of people over the last few years have been big fans of that turned out to be absolute douchebag assholes. But Neil Gaiman? That just,
I know.
right? Of all the people. And even in his so-called not really apology thing, well, some of it's true and some of it's not. Well, that doesn't sound very good. That doesn't sound very good at all. And
what's true, what's not?
And Mr. Gaiman, if I may say to you, I don't think it's the best look for an innocent person to hire the people that represented Danny Masterson. I'm just saying.
Not just Danny Masterson.
Not just
also Russell Brand and Prince Andrew.
Yes. Prince Andrew.
Well, and it's really interesting, the connection with Danny Masterson, because Carol, because you were the one who told me about all this, if you please.
Yeah, I had no idea. Now, I do not consider myself a Gaiman groupie because I know his fans get hardcore. And they're in hiding right now, but I'm sure they're going to come out and well, they are starting to come out because they're starting to lay all of the blame on Amanda Palmer's doorstep. And people, this predates her. This broke up his first marriage.
Yes.
So it's yes, she has some issues that with this situation that are sketch, but this predates her, so it's not all her fault, and it's not his autism either. So please stop saying he's autistic.
So am I.
So is Kevin, and you know what? He's not sexually assaulting anybody.
Yeah. I mean, like, no shit. So am I. And I'm.
But I realized I knew very little about Neil Gaiman because I had no idea that he grew up in the Church of Scientology.
No.
That he was actually the face of Scientology in England when he was 7 years old because the BBC did an interview with him. His father was a level 8, which is like almost Tom Cruise.
Yes,
I was so about to say almost Tom Cruise.
His Thetan levels were great. That's the thing about this. Like you, I know him through his work, Neverwhere, which I absolutely love and kept hoping would actually get a decent movie or someone would do this. Obviously, Stardust, blah, 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 blah. I know him that way. But now that I'm actually learning about him as a person, yeah, if I had learned about some of this stuff long ago, this would have changed. I
might have actually not picked it. I came to Neil Gaiman through Amanda Palmer, actually, because I was a Dresden Dolls fan before I was a Gaiman fan. When she started dating him, I was like, hey, that's the Sandman author, and I started reading his work. But I have no idea. He says he's cut ties with the church, but his sister is still in the church. She still sells the churchy vitamins, and he has given money to that business. So I don't know how much involvement he still has with Scientology. But if you do go back and listen to that Tortoise podcast, he had a therapist, his quote unquote therapist, Paul Scarlett, to talk to her after Amanda Palmer told him that she was talking to rape counselors and friends about what happened. And this guy reeks of a Scientology plant. He's not a psychologist. He's not a therapist. And he had no problem talking to reporters about her session, but claimed confidentiality on Neil's. So that dude was sketch. I'm wondering how much behind the scenes is going on. It's really weird, but yeah, listening to that podcast, I'm like, I didn't know this dude. I didn't know anything about this dude. I knew that he was very close-lipped about his upbringing,
Right.
and I do know that The Ocean at the End of the Lane is, he has said, his most autobiographical work, and in that, the young boy is very horrifically abused. Um, and that's not an excuse for anything if he was, because this is a very wealthy, powerful man who could break the cycle of violence at any time he wants, and he chose not to.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I would add, if I may, that the traumatic childhood and stuff. If he's autistic, if one or both of those are true, based on his actions, he still needs to be removed from society. And I'm not talking like, nothing like that. I'm just basically referring institutionalized or whatever, because he is not capable of being around other people.
See that
until he gets a lot of help or whatever. And even then, how much do you want to risk?
For all of you innocent until proven guilty people, okay, fine. You know what? Fine. If they could absolutely prove 100% that he is completely innocent of this, yeah, that would be an amazing thing. You know why it would be an amazing thing? Because it's just not effing possible. There's too much there. There's just
way too much.
And it's like, and it makes me kind of feel like a horrible person because, I didn't know about any of it, but like part of my brain is like, well, have I been sort of complicit in this throughout all of this? Because, I mean, his stuff was the very first web page I ever made. I called Seasons of Mist. For the love of God, if you know me, I've made a Sandman quote in your present. You might not have recognized it because I'm a bigger geek than you, but oh my God, Sandman alone, let alone the other stuff he's done, has been such a huge thing for me. And yeah, I have felt bad somewhat about myself because, Carol pointed out to me, he's like, well, if you think about the Calliope character. And I forget where I read it. Somebody on Facebook said it, and it never occurred to me, but it's brilliant. They're like, well, the thing about all those female characters is they're broken. And even if they don't start out broken, they end up broken.
It breaks them.
And then you look at his male characters, and I was just like, oh my God, it's been staring me in the face the whole effing time. And
his male characters are virtually untouchable.
But now I will say, and I mentioned this in the chat, it's very easy to go back and with, 2020 hindsight and see all of the signs, see all of the red flags and stuff. But keep in mind, people that they usually do this kind of stuff, not only do they write very tortured, broken characters that are those red flags, but they also write pure or sweet or kind characters, and they are just as mixed in throughout. And so those are very easy to obscure, whether intentionally or otherwise, to obscure those red flags, or, and I say that, so now don't read everything out there that you enjoy. And if there's a messed up character, immediately be like, oh, when's he coming out about this guy? Because again, Weird Al has some very messed up characters in some of his songs. Okay.
Let me just say,
and I can't deal with that.
For all of his drug use, Stephen King has been in a monogamous marriage for 40 plus years and seems to be a very happy man. And I have not heard one blip of impropriety from that man. And he has written some of the most weird shit I've ever read.
Mm-hmm.
He's honestly, he's a bigger deal than Gaiman. But the thing with Gaiman too is you've got these guys in position of real power. They're in a position. I made this point earlier on one of those Facebook threads, Billy, you had noticed where I posted up, about the show when I started the conversations, that some of these people like Gaiman, like Rowling, so on and so forth, have gotten to a point like King where they are so ingrained not only in the media zeitgeist, but in the social zeitgeist, that you can't turn around and not at some point run into some of their stuff. So when something like this happens, it's disturbing. But then at the same time, you'll have, the huge group of people, I'm not going to support them anymore. This is bullshit. They shouldn't have done that, blah, 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 blah. And then you get a comment from J.K. Rowling saying, that's fine. I'm still getting huge royalty checks.
And she is. And she is.
I mean, she's not wrong.
I'm not. Look, let's be very clear here. Me removing his books from my shelf, that's for me.
Right.
He's already got my money for them. I bought them.
That's so you don't have to see them.
Yeah. Not purchasing forward, it doesn't matter. This man is fabulously wealthy. He's going to be fine for the rest of his life. And he probably won't publish anything else because it's not going to go anywhere.
And I think that's part of the problem is they know this. He knows that he's going to be fine. He's not going to have to worry about where his next meal is going to come from. He's not going to have to worry about the fact he's going to have a legacy. Look at H.P. Lovecraft, who even had people back in his day saying, dude, you're kind of racist.
H.P. Lovecraft. I loved his pet naming convention, and then I found out he was an author.
Right. He's so they know they're still going to be relevant. There's no chance of them losing that relevance. So there's no fear there. So then you get people like Gaiman who have the mentality of, well, I'm a god. I can do what I want. You can call me master. And no matter how bad it gets, I'm going to be fine.
And he's still going to have women throw themselves at him as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure, here in a couple weeks, the really hardcore fangirls and guys are going to come out and say, oh, well, it's a valid lifestyle.
It's already starting.
Yeah.
It's
and that's, you know what?
It is.
Whatever.
The way he does it isn't.
No.
There's actually, but it also causes a ripple effect because then it hurts people who are in the BDSM lifestyle, in the kink lifestyle. Then when shit like this goes down, and then you look at an article, you Google Neil Gaiman, and the first article you see is from a news source, and the headline is Neil Gaiman and the perils of BDSM. Is it possible to consent to sexual torture?
Yeah. And once again, I'm going to really recommend listening to that podcast because they go into the idea of consent. Because as Scarlett says, she's consented to certain things, but not others.
Yeah, some of it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And consent once given can be revoked.
Yes.
Well, and why did she give consent in the first place too? Because did she feel like did she feel like she could say no? That's not consent. No. That's coercion.
No. Yeah, no. She did not feel like she could say no to. This is a lesbian who was far more attracted to Amanda Palmer, and that is problematic anyway because she's 2 decades older than her.
Yes.
And not paying her, and because they never paid her for her work. So, but that's Amanda Palmer's kind of screwed up, ask the world and it will provide type thing.
Yeah. Sorry, Jerry Chandler in chat, he brought up a really good thing. He will also have an audience somewhere. There's an entire movement of morons who are embracing men who get accused of stuff like this. Yes. Look at Russell Brand, who became a darling on the brosphere by being accused of rape. I would actually slightly disagree with that. He's actually the hippie Alex Jones, and he's just following where the money comes from. Yeah. But what you mentioned was a side effect of that.
Yeah. And Russell Brand is really only different in that Neil Gaiman is a highly respected author who influenced, so much. Russell Brand is an extraordinarily entertaining actor who decided that grifting is going to make him more money.
Well, yeah, he did basically just kind of play himself a lot.
Yeah.
But he has a really good mastery over the English language. He just uses the words in stupid ways.
Yeah, the same could be said for quite a few people.
That's true.
Yeah,
but no, I was a Russell Brand fan too. Back when with his stand up, and he seemed like he was doing really wacky stuff, and then it was like, oh, it's okay, he's because of the drug use, his brain's a little wacky on top of all the ADD and whatever else he's got, and then oh no, he's a trash human. Oh, okay. Yeah. And what he says actually doesn't really make any sense once you pull the charisma out of it. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have no aspirations that Neil Gaiman is going to die broke. J.K. Rowling's never going to die broke either. And I don't think any of the women who are coming forward have. I don't think he's not going to go to jail.
No. You're talking about a white dude in power.
Yeah, and
Well,
because
also
they
there's
realize how bad it looks.
Mm-hmm. But there's also I don't know that there's evidence of the crimes that took place, which is the unfortunate thing, because that is what's necessary. What can be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. So if there's no DNA evidence or anything like that, then in a court of law, it will just be he said, she said. That's the simple reality of our system.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's really how most SA cases end up being, because
which is why very, very, very few of them actually get prosecuted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, or even reported.
Mm-hmm.
There's an actual recording of Scarlett talking to the New Zealand police where they basically tell her, "We haven't talked to him because we can't compel him to come back to the country because he had left New Zealand."
Yeah.
And then said, "We looked on the internet and didn't find anything. If you find other women, can you bring them to us?" Basically telling her, "Can you do our job for us?"
Hey.
So
and the evidence, can you?
Yeah, just the disappointment and despair in her voice when she says, "Oh, I was just asking," it's like, damn.
Mm-hmm. And it also depends on New Zealand laws as well. What burden of evidence there is.
And I don't know how to pronounce that. Bichetti.
Bichetti.
Yeah.
Pavlovich.
Trump was found. Yeah, says Trump was found culpable of civil case for his hope.
Oh,
yeah. I disagree with you because he's getting inaugurated on Monday.
Yeah.
And the sentence that they handed him for the other case where it was 34, all 34 counts found guilty, the sentence was, don't do that.
No, they couldn't actually punish because it was irrelevant because he was about to take office. That's the only reason why.
After they postponed the sentencing after the election.
I would have loved to have had a president behind bars. It would have been great.
Well, and keep in mind, because of our legal system, he unfortunately did get the opportunity for all those appeals and all the delays that they asked for and whatnot. I agree. It shouldn't have been like that, but it was. And it was the system working. The problem was it was somebody who figured out how to work the system. And
so
that's
people
why
asking about my Facebook post, just realize the world we're in right now, okay?
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like Carol's 100% right. I feel like Neil Gaiman is in a position, if nothing else, at least monetarily, to game the system a whole lot like Trump did.
Exactly.
Because if he doesn't know how to do it personally, he'll just hire somebody who who does.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, didn't he hire the same people that also the PR people?
He's hired PR people. He's got an army behind him because he can afford an army behind him.
Yeah, and it's not going to break his bank. And that's the thing. It goes back to these people have no fear of loss. Now, versus somebody like me, if I were to go out and do the exact same thing, you'd never see me again. My books would be off Amazon. I'd be off the con scene. I wouldn't be I'd be gone. But I don't have that kind of power. I don't have that kind of money. So I
really, you wouldn't want to say that you wouldn't do those things?
I absolutely wouldn't do those things.
I know, Jason. I know.
There you go.
Here's the skeevy part of me. You ready? Yes, I want to see your boobs, but you know what? I want you to want to show me your boobs. Okay? There's the difference right there.
Well, and we know somebody who had, he was always skeevy to me. Just the vibe that he gave off. I did like him as a person, but he always gave me the skeevy vibe. And his take was, I'll go up to somebody and I'll ask, "Hey, would you like to have sex?" If they say no, he says, "Okay, then I'll go ask somebody else."
Right.
So one of the events I go to is Frolicon in Atlanta, and one of the things they pass out in their swag bags is literally like this card. It's a consent card if you want to approach somebody.
I've heard of these, yes.
And it covers all the bases. And even on there, it says none of this is an agreement. This is literally just to help you plan your date, and consent can be revoked at any time for any reason or no reason at all. So why is that so hard? I approached a friend of mine 2022 that I highly respect. I think she's great. She's beautiful. And we got on the subject, and she told me she wasn't interested. Cool. You might as well have told me that you didn't want to come to my house and play Sega. She's still my friend. I still respect her. I've got her back. That is not a dynamic that she wanted to add to our relationship. I don't understand why this is so difficult for some people. It literally just doesn't cross my mind.
This is the thing with Gaiman. It wasn't difficult for him because he has had decades-long relationships of this nature with other women who have consented to everything and have come forward and said, no, I was in a 10-year relationship with him of this nature, and he was fine.
Mm-hmm.
If he wanted to, he could easily have found willing participants.
And see, that makes it 100,000 times worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yet he's going to these book signings and preying on 20-year-olds and 23-year-olds. And it's just, dude, you can hire somebody to do this with you.
But he's also Neil freaking Gaiman then, before the stuff came out, where there were plenty of 22, 23, 18, 19-year-olds who would have done it anyway. Would have just walked up to him and like, yeah.
Yeah, the 20-year-old, she's like, I figured he was my boyfriend. He was my, I had a really successful, famous boyfriend. And he'd come to my job and say hi, and we'd go on dates. And then, we'd go home and it'd be like, it's so painful. I don't know what to do. But you don't want to leave his sphere because his sphere is so wonderful, and he's Neil Gaiman.
But then I have, and I hear you on that, but then I have to look at some of the details from the Vulture article. And knowing what I know about how things like anal sex works and whatnot, that's not a typical BDSM thing. There's real there's real damage that can be done.
Yeah.
So what he was doing was torture.
I like when people that the smart people know that the sub actually has the power in the Tom-sub relationship.
Yeah.
And maybe Mr. Gaiman shouldn't take his sex tips from Last Tango in Paris.
Oh. I mean, I love
that was a problematic scene.
Look. I grew up in the South. I'm as Southern as it gets. I like butter on my biscuits. I like butter on every damn thing I eat. But there is a limit to what you can do with butter.
Maybe he liked Brokeback Mountain.
There you go.
Okay, kids, we're getting silly now. So, yeah, so thanks for letting us, have some therapy here with each other. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Spitting on my hand always closes down any conversation.
One of the things that's been bothering me about the whole thing, though, is this has come up again, is the whole separating the art from the artist thing. That argument has always kind of irked me, and especially on this situation. It's the whole idea of, well, the artist is an asshole, but the art is wonderful.
Here's the thing. Like I said, with his books, that's easy because he's the only person creating those. With a television show or a movie,
even a comic,
it's not just him creating it. Yeah. There is hundreds of other people that are gaining work from this. And do you shut all their work down? Because this dude did something horrible.
They've already been paid.
We're talking Hollywood. Yeah.
Right.
They've already been paid for their work. Same with the J.K. Rowling video game.
Right.
By the time the game hit the stands and people could buy it, everybody who worked on it had already been paid.
Right.
It's not, so.
But do you tank their show's ratings, because that could mean that they don't get future employment.
Right.
But quite frankly, Hollywood It's probably filled with stories like this.
Oh, it totally is. I mean, look at Harvey Weinstein.
Let's not look at Harvey Weinstein.
Let's not.
So, plain and simple, for me, yeah, I've got all the comics, I've got all the books. There's a Brief Lives poster right here. I'm not going to throw the stuff away that I have. I mean, I was desperately waiting for a season 2 of Sandman that I don't know if they'll even make now, but let's say they do. Let's say they make a season 2 of Sandman. Yeah, you know what? I am going to watch it. But you know what? I have Netflix, and I'm not going to watch it on Netflix. Anything of Neil Gaiman's, if I do anything of his anymore, I'm pirating every goddamn thing of it. That man, like with Miss Rowling, will never get another dime of my money ever again. And I know it ain't going to bother them at all, but it'll make me feel a whole hell of a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
At the most, we can put a footnote on their career, and I want the footnote to be there. I want the footnote there on both both him and Rowling.
He was a dick.
They put it on Lovecraft. We all know. I want that to be known. That's
And
just
when
my
I
opinion, though.
and see, the thing is I didn't find out about Lovecraft until my later years. So as a kid, I'm reading all these stories, but ever since I found out, I can't read his stuff now without thinking about that and feeling kind of an ick. So I really feel like the separating the art from the artist thing is more of an individualized thing. I have a hard time with it because I still feel like, in a way, there's a level of apologist rhetoric going on there in some cases. And so my question would be like for example, I like old Megadeth albums. Dave Mustaine is a complete dick. I like Alice Cooper. He said one thing in an interview about trans people. The dude's 75 years old, and he hasn't said a thing about it since. Okay, fine. But then you get J.K. Rowling, who does the same thing that Alice does, and then doubles down and keeps going, and now it's just like she's trying to start a movement. That I have an issue with. So for me, that's where that line was. So my question is, where's the line? Where do you draw that line? Where do you say, I'm not going to listen to anything else by Ted Nugent because he's an absolutely horrible, despicable human being?
Well, that line was easily drawn with Ted Nugent because he's also a shitty musician.
You're not wrong. I mean,
in more ways than one, if you believe the story.
Yeah, doubling down on it. Finger right there on the pulse of America. I love it.
Oh, by the way, we're gonna have to wrap this up. I've got an early morning. I have a shift at the Woody Allen orphanage that I need to work at. So.
Wow. Wow. But I can't curse, okay?
I will then say come back and join us. What, the 30th is 2 weeks from now?
Yes.
So come back and join us on the 30th. And in the meantime,
it'll be a much happier show.
It'll be much happier.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. It's 2 weeks. Who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows?
No shit.
We're going to find out that Bob.
Trending. What's going on?
We're going to find out that Bob Ross was the one who set the Palisades fire.
Yeah, he said it from his laser station in space.
All these goddamn happy little trees.
Because, what if all those scenic places are where he hid the bodies?
It was just a happy accident. It was just a happy little accident.
So, if we wrap this up on this thought, I believe my agree with me on this.
Every Bob Ross episode, he painted the tombstone.
Every tree represented where a body was buried.
Mr. Gaiman, not that I think you will ever hear this ever in your entire life. But, for the record, if even a slight effing sliver of this is true, let alone as much of it as I think actually is, if even a tiny little sliver of this shit is true, I hope, sir, that you get to spend a nice, long, uninterrupted weekend with the Corinthian. GRD is licensed.
and not the Boyd Holbrook good-looking version, okay?
No, not the hot one. Not conversion on the River United States. Like, check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. Stop by the website at geekradiodaily.com. Jason, where can find you?
You can find me at jasonhgilbert.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Blue Sky. Come check me out. I'm on Instagram. I don't really do a whole lot with it. And I'm also on Amazon. You can buy all my stuff there.
So make it happen. We will see you in a week.
Game over, man.
think? It stinks.
Doesn't anyone know how to turn off the program when they leave?
This has been the saddest excuse for entertainment I've ever seen.
Scat. Skedaddle. Adios. Arrivederci. Ciao. Aloha. Bye-bye.
And so 3 guys go to confront Hamilton on these charges. One of the dudes was future President James Monroe. You know, yo, Hamilton, we know what you did. You know what you did. Check out these checks to James Reynolds. What's up? And they accuse him of embezzling funds. And Hamilton goes, no, I was just f***ing this lady and her husband was hitting me up for money. I didn't touch American money and I have all kinds of proof. And he vomits information all over them. Oh, wow, that was more than we needed to hear. And we're good. Thanks. The info about the affair gets somehow miraculously printed in the paper. Hamilton is not a great dude. I know you think he's great because he's a war vet and he's the Treasury Secretary, but you're gonna learn the truth real soon. And Hamilton gets this, and he goes to James Monroe. Like, I told you that in secret. And James Monroe's like, it wasn't secret. It wasn't me. It wasn't me who published it. Motherfucker, I told 3 people about this, and you're the one who was taking notes, so I know it came from you. Like, fess up, you.
Now, the great thing is...
Wow, George Hamilton's really old.
Yeah. Like I didn't think I would hear a grown man turn into R2D2 on the stream.
I actually put that as a stinger literally about 2 weeks ago. No idea at all what we would be talking about. And I got thinking about it, I'm like, oh, look at here. The Hamiltons wasn't a nice guy either. Not nearly as bad as Neil Gaiman, but yeah.
Now, I think Neil Gaiman probably takes the cake right now, honestly.
Oh, for sure.
Happy birthday, Lin-Manuel Miranda. There you go.
By the way, Jason, you looking at the chat?
Yeah.
Jerry posted a movie recommendation.
Yeah, the last time Jerry posted a movie recommendation, I had to go into therapy. That man is a cornucopia of crap.
What movie did you get recommended?
Let me look.
Because I'm wondering if I probably have seen it.
Oh, and while you're looking that up, Depeche Dick says Gilbert High from Rehoboam.
Oh, Rehoboam.
Huh?
Rehoboam.
Depeche Dick. I guess I don't know if I'm messing up your username there.
Hard Case and Fist.
Oh.
Does that ring a bell?
Is that the Hardcastle McCormick porn?
Yes, I need to see this.
That sounds like a porno.
Yeah.
It looks like a
Depeche DDK. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sure, it smells like one too. Oh my god.
Depeche DDK.
So yeah. Holy
so yeah, I do recommend that podcast if you want to sit there for 5 hours.
Recommend? I think we're already of the right, mentality on this.
Yeah.
Do I have enough beer though?
Oh, dude, I've still got more of this 12 pack in the fridge. We're good. I got you, baby.
Enough, Jesus.
I got you, baby.
God Almighty, that's crazy.
I do wonder, however, if this last one, because he seems it seemed very brutal with this last one. If that was because Amanda Palmer told him not to.
And then when she found out, she says, again.
Yeah.
That
You're one of 14 women who have come to me.
Yeah. And that I'm just as angry at her for enabling his ass.
Yeah, she wasn't quite a Ghislaine Maxwell, but also not.
Well, inaction can be just as evil.
There's that.
And the thing that strikes me about that first encounter is that she sent her over there to babysit her son who was not there.
Yeah.
And was not there for hours. Her son was on a play date, but she sent her over there. And knowing that knowing, and knowing that her son was not going to be there for hours.
She may have been hoping that, you know, he wasn't going to do it this time, or he changed his ways or something like that. I mean,
I don't know if he's not going to do it unless I give him an opportunity to. So,
but the thing is, too, she's not the only one who knew. Tori Amos was supposed to work with him, and her. Yeah, I can't remember who it was that told her. What Amanda Palmer? I think it was one of her producers or one of his people said, you know, Neil Gaiman's, he's a great guy. You're going to love him. Do not be alone in the room with him. He is dangerous.
See, I can proudly say no one's ever said that about me. So
I hope no one has ever said that.
You don't be in the room with that guy, but not that way.
Yeah.
The fact remains, though, if she had hired a male babysitter or a 50-year-old babysitter,
Gilbert, the only thing that I've heard about you about not being in a room alone with is because you get a bit farty.
That's. Oh my God, we got 3 minutes of record time left. How about that?
I also get farty. Don't feel bad, sir. Don't feel bad.
Just projecting. So cool. Thank you, Swedish people.
Yes, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. We'll be back to lighter, happier fare in 2 weeks' time. But we do appreciate you guys coming in and listen to us. Of course, we were speaking from a fan perspective, and we know that everybody out there has their own personal stories, whether about Neil Gaiman or anything.
You will read them by all means. We're listening.
And I believe we have our Facebook linked on here. That's probably the one that, you know, just the structure of it is a little bit easier to talk about and whatnot. But yeah, please feel free, start a thread on our Facebook and just talk about
That's
it.
kind of weird, but sure.
2 o'clock in the morning, Billy's like, what the hell?
But so anyway, guys, we do appreciate you. And for those of you, many of you were saying in there that, you know, you're going to be kind of hiding on Monday. Look, the next 4 years, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun. But we got to make sure that we do what we can to help who we can. All right? That's the key thing. Just like, you know, those jackasses that are saying that, you know, any kind of support money to California should come with strings attached. Keep in mind, California doesn't do that to other states, because remember, the thing you got to remember, California pays more in federal taxes than just about any other state. In fact, I believe it's either like the 5th or 8th largest economy in the world. And a lot of the states that are complaining about all this stuff and whatnot, they're the ones that take out more in federal taxes than they put in. We're better than that. We're not going to be dicks about that. So we have to make sure that we are keeping an eye out for those that we can. Some of us will have some form of privilege, some sort of privilege in the next 4 years that others may not. We want to keep an eye out for them, try to do what we can for them, weather the storm. America's been around for a long time. She'll be around after that, but we have to make sure that we're doing our part to make sure it does.
Also, concerning the California fires, for every big Hollywood name that lost a house, there's 100 people in apartments and little houses that lost theirs too. Not everyone that lives there is a freaking millionaire.
And even if they are remember the humanity, because there's a fair chance that it's a lot of personal memories and stuff. And just because they hit the genetic lottery, and you know, they got lucky and got some good breaks and were able to make a bunch of money, that is okay. Remember your humanity. Make sure that you are not shitting on people who don't deserve it.
And
even if
do
they
more
do.
than the keyboard, guys. Make it a call to action.
See you this week.
Right.
And then it stopped. Nice.
All right. And we are going to stop recording or stop streaming now. Good night, guys. Stay warm. Be safe. Love you guys.
Bye.